Good day, viewers. I welcome you to today's lesson. Um, Let me tell you a brief short story on this. It was students that came to my place and tell me to solve these two questions for them. Okay, and I simply represent these two questions as killer mathematics. Okay, as you know that my channel is always to provide difficult math solutions to students that are not that good in mathematics. Okay, now let's start. The first question says that a civil servant, solution. A civil servant spent 2 over 7 of his monthly salary on clothes, 7 over 20 of the remainder on feeding, and saved the rest. If he spent 7,000 naira on feeding, find his monthly salary. Now, this is word problem. Okay? His monthly salary we don't know. What you do is that you say let his monthly salary be X. Remember, his monthly salary be X. A civil servant spent 2 over 7 of his monthly salary on clothes. So we can simply say clothes. Clothes is simply 2 over 7 of his monthly salary, which is X. We can call this equation 1. Okay? Then 7 over 20 of the remainder on feeding. Now, you know we have monthly salary to be X. So that means the on clothes is 2 over 7X. So now say you spend 7 over 20 of the remainder on feeding and save the rest. Okay. Now for feeding now, we can have feeding to be, okay, let us analyze it together. That means if he's having salary of X and he spent on 2 over 7 of that X on feeding, so that was definitely going to be 7 over 20 of the remainder. So the remainder is just going to be subtraction of these two. That is 7 over 20 of this minus this. X minus 2 over 7x. Then let's simplify that further. We simply have 7 over 20 of, then we look for the LCM here, which is 7x minus 2x all over 7. And this will give you 7 over 20 of here simply times 5x over 7. Okay, so 7 eliminates 7. 5 here 1, 5 here 4. So you are left with, so therefore feeding is simply 1 over 4 then of x. You have got it for feeding. Now, if save the rest, okay, if he spent 7,000 naira on feeding, find his monthly salary. Now, this is feeding, and he spent 7,000 naira on that feeding. So that means feeding feeding, it simply means that 7,000 on feeding, that's 7,000, if you make equation from here, is equals to this 1 over 4x. Of course, when you cross multiply, you will have x to be equals to 7,000 times 4, and that's going to give you naira 28,000.00. Okay, so this is the monthly salary that the man has. But now we are not this is the final answer actually. But now let's assume that they are asked us to find the rest, the amount is saved. How can we do that? Let me introduce another thing to this. Save the rest is simply saying that means all his expenses now is just going to be for feeding, which is his monthly salary is having X, right? That's just going to be for saving now. Since monthly salary is X, that becomes X minus the total amount he spent, 2 over 7x minus 1 over 4x. So this determines the amount of money you have saved. Now let's LCM is simply 28. This will give you 28x minus, that's 8x minus what? 7x. So this minus this is simply 20. 20 minus 7 is simply 13x over 28. So don't forget that we have gotten x to be this. So therefore we now say that's 13 over 28 times 28,000. So 28 here 1, 28 here 1,000, and that will give you 1,000 times 13, and that will give us 13000. That's 13,000 naira. Okay, so that will be the amount of money that you will have saved. But we are not asked to get this, so I just want to introduce that in case they ask us to find saving. So, but this is the amount that we have to calculate. Find his money salary, that is all. Now, the second question says simplify. The second question says we should simplify. Let me start from here. Simplify root 160 r squared plus square root, don't forget this square root covers everything, 71 r raised to power 4 plus, then this one's covered this, that's 100 r raised to power 8. Wow, how do we solve this question? Now what you do is this. If you look at the steps of this square root covering that cell, the smallest step is this last one. So you are not meant to start your solution from the front, you start from the back, just like you are climbing step. Okay, so if I start from the back, from what I have here, bring it out, 100 r raised to power 8, and this same thing as 100 r raised to power 8 into 1 over 2. So if you find the square root of 100, it's simply 10. Square root of r raised to power 8, that's r raised to power 8 times half. That will give you r raised to power 4. So we have gotten this. So that means this particular one can be reduced to, since we have solved it, can be reduced to what? To square root of 160 r raised to power 2 plus, then square root we reduce to 2, that's 71 r raised to power 4 plus the answer we got there, which is 10 r raised to power 4. So we can now have square root of 160 r raised to power 2 plus square root of this plus this is simply 81 r raised to power 4. You can see we have reduced that to 2. Okay, we take it again from the back. So let's square root, that's square root of 81 r raised to power 4, and 81 is simply 9. Square root of 81 is simply 9, and square root of r raised to power 4 is simply r raised to power 2. We are going to, so we introduce it again back here. So we are going to have this square root to be 160 r raised to power 2 plus 9 r raised to power 2. Wow, you can see it's been simplified. This plus this is simply square root of 169 r raised to power 2. So when you look for the square root of this, you simply have 13 r. That's all. So I hope I've been able to solve this question, and if you have any question on this, you are free to paste it on the comment section. I'll see you guys. This is all I have for you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next class. Bye bye.